Hello, beloveds. Welcome, welcome. And happy Lughnasadh. Happy Lughnasadh. Welcome. And beloveds are just flowing in. So we'll just give it another moment before we get started. But I am so happy to be sharing sacred space together at such a sacred time. So just to kind of give you the general flow, we'll open up sacred space first of all, and then I would love to just kind of explain a little bit about what Lughnasadh is all about, and the mythology and the meaning behind it, but also the goddesses and gods that are associated with this time of year. And then we'll go through a really beautiful Lughnasadh meditation and journey. And then I have some really beautiful questions that are very powerful to really kind of go inwards and ask yourself at this time. So please make sure you've got pen and paper handy, and then we'll close our sacred space. So I am so happy and so honored to be here with you all. I'm just going to invite you to just gently close your eyes. And I'm also going to invite you to, kick off shoes and socks or slippers, or if you have anything on your feet, so you can just really bring the soles of your feet as close to the earth as possible while you're inside, right? Or maybe some of you are outside, which would be lovely. And I'm just going to invite you to inhale and roll your shoulders up and back. So just really opening up through your heart. And then I'm just really going to invite you to center and fully bring yourself into this present moment. And then gently closing your eyes. And just bringing your awareness, actually wherever it feels. Maybe it's been drawn down to kind of the lower energy points, or maybe up towards the higher or the heart. Just kind of honor wherever your energy chooses to be. And as we open sacred space at this time of Lughnasadh, really honoring our ancestors. We're at this midway point between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox. And this is a time where our ancestors, mark this time. Lughnasadh, which translates to, the harvest. And so it's really looking at reaping what we've sown. So we're opening sacred space, and we're calling upon, and only, if it feels right, I invite you to really just stay tuned in to your highest good, your highest right, what feels really authentic to you. But I'm going to invite us to call in our ancestors now. Our ancestors that are only choosing to be here for the highest good from a heavenly realm, and that want to be present and be here with us and receive whatever healing is here from the past lineage and just into the present, and wherever it wants to flow into the future. And ultimately, any of this work that we do ripples out into humanity, into the earth. So as we call upon our ancestors that have honored these sacred times on the wheel, and they have been home within themselves, the sacredness within themselves, or whether they went to a special tree or a sacred site. And in Ireland, we have specific sites aligned with this time of year. And these sacred sites are, created either man-made or earth-made on these energy lines, these what we call ley lines. And these ley lines that run through Ireland, but also run through the world, they link up all the sacred sites from Machu Picchu in Peru, to the Temple of Heaven in China, to Delphi, Greece, to all the pyramids in Egypt, all around the world. And these sacred sites are built on these energy lines because they have a way of harnessing this power in the land, this spirit of the land. So we call upon our ancestors, and I'd also like to call upon who will talk more about the sun god Lu and his foster mother, Tolchu, the goddess of the earth. But as we're really honoring, the earth of Lughnasadh this time and what it speaks to us, I'd like to also evoke in Eru, who is the Irish goddess of the land, Sophia, Gaia, Mama Pacha, Pachamama. And I invite you now, as we open this sacred space, if you feel guided to invoke someone into your sacred space at this time, please do that. I evoke also the Morrigan and Boan, the goddess of the wells. There's a ritual that we'll be talking about, a ceremony that is honored at this time of Lughnasadh, could be performed at this time. And we're opening sacred space in this energy of love, reverence, honoring, peace, healing, beauty, grace, connection. And I invite you also now, what other intention together collectively do we want to open this sacred space? So this is your ceremony. This is our ceremony. This is all of us coming together to consciously create sacred space. Beautiful. That's beautiful. You can just feel, thank you. And so I'm going to invite everyone, we're going to take 3 really deep cleansing breaths. And so I'm going to invite you to take a deep inhale. And as you do, I'm going to invite you to draw the energy up from the earth beneath you. So inhaling and just drawing your breath all the way up your body. Feel it rising up through your body like the rising sun, all the way to the crown of your head. And then whenever it feels right to you, I'm going to invite you to just exhale that breath out with a big sigh, whatever sound. Whatever beautiful sound or whatever sound that that needs to come through to move energy, allow that. If you find that you yawn or you want to stretch or move, just really listen to your body, listen to that inner guidance. So again, let's take another deep inhale together. Inhaling up, drawing your energy up, just holding your breath, and then whenever you're ready, just exhaling your breath all the way out. Beautiful, just letting that energy move. And this time as you inhale, we're just going to welcome you are going to welcome yourself into this moment. So inhaling your breath up, and just holding your breath, whenever you're ready, just exhaling your breath all the way out. Beautiful. And just welcoming your beautiful self. And I am so grateful. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your time and your energy and your sacredness with me, with our circle here now. So thank you. So I really wanted to chat about Lughnasadh. For some people, you know and you understand this, and for some people, this might be new. So I really love to live in harmony, with the moon, with the cycles of my body, with spirit and the land. And the land is so healing, and it's such a powerful teacher for us, the land is. And so the Celtic wheel has 8 points. We have basically our 2 solstices, and we have the summer solstice on June 21st. And then every 6 weeks, we have these points on the wheel. So Lughnasadh is that midway point between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox. So there's like 12 weeks between those. So that midpoint at that six weeks is Lughnasadh, which basically in the Gaelic language translate to the harvest. And various parts. Lughnasadh is celebrated throughout Wales and the Isle of Man. And you may have also heard the English, they would call it the Lammas. But here in Ireland, we call it Lughnasadh, the Gaelic word. And so it's the second harvest, and I live in the country here in Ireland, mountains and forest all around, the sea a little down the road, and all the tractors are out right now because this is the time of the second harvest, the last harvest of the summer. And the summer solstice was the longest day. And if we understand that cyclical flow in nature, right now, wherever in the world you are, it could be morning, but you're every second moving towards night. And some of us that are in later in the day, we're moving towards the morning. And that we know, which is always true, that we're always in this change, the Tao, right? So we're at this time of Lughnasadh, and we're heading now towards the darker time of the year. The autumn equinox comes next, and it's the time of release and starting to go inwards. But we've had the summer solstice in June, and now it's been really hot in most places in the world. And of course, depends where in the hemisphere you are. But for most of us, I think, that are here together now, we're at this time of in between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox. And the harvest, the earth has been really, really hot. And so if you look out to nature, all these, like everything that's been in full blossom is now starting to wilt a little bit, because it's even my veggie garden, like it's vibrant and beautiful, but it's drying. It's starting to dry out. Like there's just been a lot of heat. And we have to be really mindful of this with our own personal energy at this time of year, because it's very, what we would say, yang. It's very outward. It's a time of movement and transformation. But now towards the end of summer, like it's and always every day, it's vital that we do this, but we pause and we give time to reflect. But so these points on the wheel are really, really inviting us to do this. So the second harvest has happened. And these points on the wheel, like, so if we go back, because these festivals have been celebrated for hundreds, thousands of years. And so, back then they didn't have fridges, they didn't have freezers and stuff. So all the crops and everything they've been growing, like some of it can go into barrels, some of it could get placed at the bottom, the base of the well to stay cool, some could get dried. But there's just some foods, like the berries and stuff, that couldn't. So they'd have these 3-day festivals to like eat up all the food that would go bad, that can't store. So one reason for these festivals is they'd all come together and like eat the foods and actually add extra layers of like fat on their body. So preparing for that winter, they'd be hibernating, the food wouldn't be there. So like they knew, okay, let's eat all that we can now. We'll dry and look after the best of the food that we can, the corn and everything that was being harvested, but some of it just couldn't. So they would have these festivals. And they really believed that these festivals were time to just celebrate and to go full out, depending on the festival. They all have their own energies. But like the summer solstice is a very sensual one, where like anything went for 3 days, because, or like a Samhain, which is our Halloween one, is the veils are very thin to the other worlds and the spirit worlds. And it's the same with all the festivals, but they all really hold energies where in society, we're all being told, to behave a certain way and to be good girls, to be good boys, whatever it is. And these festivals were time to let your inner wild woman be expressed, your inner like whatever you felt like was of expressing yourself in a really healthy, celebrate, joyful way. Because if that doesn't get to be expressed, it comes out in ways, if it's being pushed down and not honored, not heard and not seen, it comes out in ways that we don't want it to. So why not honor that? That's what these times are really about. So the Lughnasadh, right? So Lughnasadh is very much so honoring the sun god Lu. And Lu was one of the members of the Tua De Danann, which is the original, the mythical race here from Ireland, the fairy realm, a very very powerful, like they weren't of a human race, and they're our fairy realm. And when humans came to the earth, they kind of gave space for us to be here, but kind of watch over us. They're light beings. And so when we think of fairies here in Ireland, we don't think of these like little Tinkerbells. When you see those in Ireland, they're more elementals of the elements, but the fairy realm here are these 6-foot light beings. So Lu was the sun god that was going to be, brought into the Tuatha Danann. And at first they said, no, 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 like didn't invite him in as part of the tribe at that time. And then, they all kind of, meditated on it and journeyed on it, and they realized that he was their savior, that Lu was. And Lu, before, when he was a part of the Tuatha Danann, his foster mother, her name was Tolchu, and she was the goddess of plowing the land. So she's very much so like the goddess of this time of year. And she worked very, very hard in the land. And this time of year is really interesting because all of these points in the wheel are always teaching us something. And what happened to Tolchu, and it's spelled T-I-L, her name is spelled T-I-L-I-T-L-U, but it's a Gaelic word, so nothing is ever read like it's written. But she actually died of exhaustion plowing the land. So one thing that this time of year is teaching us about in these festivals, to step into your joy, like especially nowadays, right? Everybody's going for the next thing and trying to achieve the next thing, and busyness. And, where is that joy and that playfulness? And Tolchu is the goddess archetype that is honoring, that like overwork, the land is tired. It's like exhausted at this time of year. It did this whole harvest in June, and now it's a whole, like my vegetable garden, I planted, some bits go year round, but I planted in the spring, harvest in June, and then, it's harvesting again, and it's tired now. It needs replenishment, it needs nourishment. And all of you lovers of the land, I know you know what I'm talking about. So her archetype is representing exhaustion. So one of the questions we're going to reflect on a little bit later after our meditation is, are you feeling that, like, from this yang time of year, this outward time, are you feeling that like inner depletion? So that's something we'll look at a little bit more. So this time of Lughnasadh is inviting us to look at that. But also, so Lughnasadh, Lu, the god Lu, created this festival on the wheel in honor of his foster mother that he loved so much and grieved and mourned. So part of this festival was honoring, they call it like funeral games, so honoring her, but bringing the joy into, she died of exhaustion working and plowing the land, so they brought in this energy of joy and honoring her. So it's interesting because it's always that yin and yang, right? Those polar opposites, those dualities. So it was honoring, the funeral games, but at the same time, all sorts of things happened at these festivals. They also called it the marriage trials. And there was this like ancient Gaelic tradition where there was a doorway with a hole in it, and so if you're, this is the perfect time of year if you're thinking of doing a trial marriage with anybody, but they would put their hands through the doors, and like if they kind of came together in such a way, it would mean that they were the right fit, and then we'd come back the following year to be married. So really amazing things would happen at these festivals. Now, all of our sacred sites in Ireland, and we have, I think, 20,000, which is honoring our sacred wells, our stone circles, our standing stones, our fairy forts, our fairy circles, our stone circles. Cairns, our sacred cairns, the mounds, the fairy mounds, like so many sacred sites that we're so blessed to have over here. And they are all, created to align with these sacred points on the wheel, the solstice and the equinoxes where the light shines through, or sometimes, these standing stones have markings on them. And it's just fascinating how the light shines through these little indentations in the stone. Amazing. And, back then, thousands of years when these were being created, because a lot of them are older than the pyramids in Egypt, so like over 5,000 years, and they didn't have compasses and calendars. They just looked at the sun, they looked at the moon. They were so in tune with the cycles and spirit and the spirit world that they were always just guided. So there's a couple of sacred sites in Ireland. One in Mayo. It's actually a sacred mountain, Croken it's called. And it's one of the highest mountains here in Ireland, and a lot of people do pilgrimage. So it's very much so known as a spiritual mountain, and of religious also significance, because it's related with St. Patrick. And they actually say that the mountain is laden with gold, but that's what I love about Ireland. It's so alive in its magic and mystery and mythology. Like at these sacred times, like there's groups and groups of people, but every day just honoring these sites and honoring spirit and honoring the land. But this mountain won't be allowed to be touched, even though there's a lot of gold in it. And same with all the fairy forts and stone circles. They're not allowed to be touched. And, it can be very inconvenient for a lot of farmers when they have this fairy stone circle in the middle of a field where they're meant to be plowing and they can't, and it gets fenced off. And it's like, whether the farmers believe or not, they still totally respect that, because farmers that have ignored that in the past, that are like, oh, I'm just going to bulldoze this stone over this circle of stones, and not to go into it, but tractors are turned over, like catastrophe happens. So you just don't disrespect these sites. So then also, what is really honoured as well is our Hill of Tara in County Meath. So I'm going to, during our journey of meditation, bring us to these sacred sites so we can tune into that energy. And so there's a couple of different sacred points on the Hill of Tara. And one is the mound that lines up with the Lughnasadh, the sunrise of Lughnasadh. And there's also a very sacred well. And one of the rituals at this time of Lughnasadh is you would go and visit these sacred wells. And usually there's at least one, if not more, of our hawthorn trees, which are also known as the tree of the fairy realm. And they're known as the wishing tree as well. They're healing trees, and they always grow along with the wells. So people would go visit the wells, and they would bring an offering of like corn or something that would be harvest at this time of year. There's lots of other things you can offer, but just sometimes even just a prayer or a chant, or your voice or reverence, and just putting your hands and visiting is an offering within itself. But people would go and they would tie things on the trees, and it's really, of course, if this is a tradition that you follow, it's just really important everything's eco-friendly, because sometimes you see people tying bits of plastic, and that's not good for the tree. So anything that's kind of eco-friendly to the tree, you can bring as an offering. So it's really beautiful. And then the water in these wells are very healing. And certain wells relate with certain healings, like for eyesight and hearing, or the heart, and so some of these trees, people come from all over the world, and if somebody's unwell, they bring something of theirs to tie to the tree, so they're there within the healing energy. So it's really beautiful. So I'm going to start our journey, our meditation now. So I'm going to invite you, beloveds, just to make sure that you're really, really comfortable. If you want to lay down, feel free to do so. If you sit up, and just make sure, whatever you're doing, you're comfortable, but have a nice straight spine, right? Because we really want the energy, the life force, that prana, that chi, to be able to flow through you and around you. And then whenever you're ready, beloved, I'm just going to invite you to just gently close your eyes. And just like we did, just bring your awareness inwards. And wherever your energy feels drawn, just bring it there. And just really listening to whatever feels right for you in this moment. The sacred space, the safe, beautiful, nurturing sacred space is open at this sacred time, in this beautiful, beautiful circle. Because the first thing we always do is ground our energy. So I'm going to invite you to send this grounding cord at the base of your spine, at the soles of your feet. And send this grounding cord down through the layer of where you are now, the foundation. And send this grounding cord deep down into the heart of the earth beneath you. Feel your energy moving down to the heart of the earth, down through the layers of whatever is beneath, the soil, the rocks, the water, the sand, until you reach the heart of the earth. It's like the womb of the earth. And when you go to the depth of the earth like this, there's a warmth in the air because of the time of year. And at the same time, there's just this cool, beautiful temperature for you. I invite you to really allow yourself to move into whatever position as you're in the womb of the earth. So you can receive this nourishment. The earth's wisdom is 4 billion years old. So this wisdom, it's infinite. And the love and the nourishment that is given to us every second of every day, just allow yourself to receive. We can offer to her afterwards, but for this moment, I invite you just to allow yourself to receive. Really allow yourself to receive. It's about receiving now from the fruits of your labor. Allow yourself to receive. And when I say the fruits of your labor, I could mean a special project that you've been working on. And the fruits of your labor, you start to see what you've created. It could be a special project. It could be a garden that you created for yourself. It could be love and nourishment that you've poured into a relationship. Like the seeds that you plant and you've watched it grow as you've nurtured it with water and sunlight and just the amount right of this and just the right amount of that. And allowing yourself to really just be and to receive that essence of, wow, you put so much love and time and energy into this. And it may not just be one thing, it may be a couple of things. Maybe a community that you've been, getting ready, to really step into and be a part of. So whatever that is, beloved, that whatever comes into your consciousness, it's that. And we can just bask in that and know that. Just allow your body to relax and to let go. And know and trust that if you felt to be called here, you're exactly where you need to be. And if you notice yourself kind of fidgeting or anything, and not just letting yourself be and receive, just allow yourself to observe that. Allow yourself to be the observer. And just see if you can open that bit more to receive. To receive this nourishment, this nourishment, but also this nurturing, this love. And while you're down here, just feeling really rooted. And when we feel rooted, we feel centered. And we have this clear sense of belonging. So I really want you to feel into this, I belong. I mean, you're here with your ancestors. You're here connecting to this ancient energy in this present moment. So taking a deep inhale and exhale. We're going to keep this beautiful, intimate connection with the earth, but now we're just going to bring this energy, this rooted, grounded, centered energy up from the heart of the earth. So I'm going to invite you now with your mind's eye to see it moving up the layers of the earth. And I invite you to see it like this warm golden light, or perhaps it's a different color for you, and just honoring whatever that is, but see it rising up and see it entering now in through the soles of your feet, in through the base of your spine, rising up through your body, moving up through your energy points. And as it does move up through these sacred energy points, feel it just opening, loosening, giving space. As this energy moves up through your body, if there's anywhere that there's tightness or discomfort, just invite this energy of warmth, of nourishment to these parts, and invite in space and softness. I feel it moving through every single cell of your being, moving all the way down through your arms and fingertips. And again, as it does, just feel everything softening, moving all the way up to the crown of your head, and bringing your awareness to the crown of your head. And now once you've done that, feeling your connection with your highest self, that highest self that you are always connected to. It's just when you consciously choose to commune, you're always connected with the earth. And these are your birthright. These are your birthright, beloved. And only you can choose to claim that birthright. So inviting that pure source energy down. Again, always honoring every step that feels right for you. This pure source energy, inviting it down and seeing it coming in the form of just pure white light, moving in through the crown of your head and flowing down through your body, and knowing that you are source energy and it already flows through you and around you. But when we consciously choose to bring it in and feel it like filling up every single cell of your being, out around your energy field, and creating this beautiful sphere all around you of pure white light. Feel that now. Allowing your breath to flow freely. And then bringing this grounded, earthy energy at your heart and this source energy at your heart, and allow them to move in the circle. This is the point on the wheel that honors the shape of the circle of the sun. And the sun, the fire is more masculine, right? So just allow that energy to create this circular energy. The moon is also the yin, right? The divine feminine. And we are both. So as that movement of that circle at your heart, where heaven meets earth, just feel that integration and that union of all of that within you. Can you feel that union? And then with your mind's eye, see what, as these merge together at your heart, is there a symbol? Is there a color? Is there, what is there as you look, as you see? That union within you. And this is something that you do. You don't need anybody else to guide you. You don't have to go anywhere. Yes, it's beautiful to sit out under a tree. Yes, it's beautiful to be at a sacred site. But you can just be sitting in your bedroom doing this. This is your sacred space. So bring your awareness to your mind's eye now. And together, we're going to go on a journey. So with your mind's eye, I invite you to see yourself on this beautiful ancient stone path. As I invite you to look in front of you, you see these beautiful, it kind of looks like cobblestones, ancient stone path with grass, emerald green grass growing between these stones. And you're going to have your own journey, and I'm just merely going to be your guide. And just putting one foot in front of the next and being guided on your path. And as you walk along this path, just inviting you to observe any sounds that you hear. Is it a bird's call that you recognize? Are the birds sitting in trees? The sacred tree of Lughnasadh is the oak tree. And if the bird sings from the tree, it's telling you this is a sacred tree. And all trees are sacred, but as the bird calls from you, it's a vibrant tree. As you make your way, putting one foot in front of the next, is there any smells? Any particular smells? Anything you can smell? The sun is out, it's warm, but you decide on how warm, or is it cooling? Can you hear the sound of water? Is there water nearby? What are all the colors that you can see? As you look out ahead, you can see this circular stone wall. Following that inner guidance, you make your way over to this circular wall, putting one foot in front of the next. And as you look down, notice, are you wearing shoes or not? What are you wearing? As you make your way over to this circle stone wall, you look down and you realize you're visiting a sacred well, an ancient sacred well with sacred water beneath. As you look over this wall, you see on the inside of the wall steps down, and on the outside of the wall some steps. Old ancient rock, because you can tell they're worn in such a way. And if you feel guided to use the steps to get to the top of the wall so you can start descending into the well, I invite you to do so at a pace that honors you. And as you put your foot or your hands on these rocks, see if you're accessing this ancient wisdom. See what you receive from being here, observing how you feel. And as you start descending down, putting one foot in front of the next, being mindful as you step on these rocks, being aware that you're on sacred ground, even though knowing that all ground, all land is sacred. But this is one where ceremonies have been performed, healings. Your ancestors have been here. So making your way down, descending down into the well. And as you move more deeply down here, it gets a little darker, but it's very safe. This is a sacred space. You look down and you just notice there's just a couple of steps left to go. When you reach the base of the steps, there's candles everywhere, honoring this time of year. There's offerings of corn. There's blueberries, wild frankenberries, sacred fruit being offered to you, blackberries. And then in front of you, you see the circular well as you stand upon the large stone. If it feels right, beloved, I invite you to just seat yourself down to the water of the well, and I invite you to see your reflection in the water. As you look at your reflection, beloved, I really invite you to see your beauty, to see your wisdom, to see your love. See it now, beloved. Honor your beautiful self. Give gratitude. As you look at this well, it has this powerful healing energy and also this ability to show you guidance. So we're going to be silent for a moment here, beloved, and if there is a question that you would like to specifically ask the well, or if you just want to look into the well and see if you're greeted by a guide, if you see a symbol, we're just going to be in silence here together. Feel free to ask a question you'd like answered, or just ask if there is guidance for you, or you can just be there in silence and look into the well. Allowing yourself to listen to the guidance, receive the guidance, and take that in. And if you feel like it, beloved, just bring your hands forward and place them into the well. Gather the water in the palms of your hands and just splash it all over your energy field, cleansing your energy field, blessing. And gather more water if you wish, and if there's parts of your body you'd like to bring extra healing to, with the water on your hands, just place it on your body, whether it's your heart, an energetic healing, a physical healing, something that's hurting, something. Just place your hand there and allow that healing to occur. Receive this. These wells are also like the womb, the divine feminine. So I invite you to put the palms of your hands on the top of the water now and offer gratitude for all that you've received. Give thanks, reverence. And beloved, as you're present here at the well, if there are people in your life, animals, the earth, anywhere, anyone that you feel could do with some healing, as you're here at this sacred well, just take a moment to offer them healing energy. Send it out wherever it needs to go. It will reach who and where it's meant to, with love, with peace. Again, thanking the well. Whenever you're ready, beloved, just gently standing back up. And just taking a moment to observe this sacred space with the offerings. And how the candle flames are just gently moving from the air above. It's as though they're speaking to you. Feeling the presence of your ancestors. Feeling the presence of your guides. We're going to start making our way back up the steps, ascending back up out of the well, one foot in front of the next, all the way up. All the way up. And as you come to the last step and need to bring your leg over the wall, you're greeted by the goddess Anya, the radiant and bright one. She offers you her hand as you make your way over the well and down the steps on the outside of the wall. She gazes into your eyes. You hold hands a moment and bring your foreheads together. She wants to share her light with you, her wisdom, gifts. Anya, goddess Anya, the goddess of the Tuatha and the fairy realm. You come back to gazing into each other's eyes. No words need to be said. It is just all understood. The language of the heart, the language of the soul. You say goodbye through the gaze. And you make your way back down the path in which you entered. Seeing all that you saw on the way in. Beloved, I also want you to observe, does anything look different? Brighter? Has anything grown? Anything added to the path on the way home? What do you see? What can you hear? So now, beloved, you've come between two trees, which is your portal, your doorway out of this dimension. And if it feels right, I'm going to invite you to make your way through. But just before you do, I invite you to look up and notice, do you see the sun or do you see the moon? And if it feels right, make your way through this portal, coming to the other side, taking a deep inhale and exhale. And then whenever you're ready, beloved, I'm going to invite you to open your eyes and welcome. If it feels good to gently move your head from side to side, move your fingers, move your toes, stretch, yawn, sing, whatever you feel like doing, moving. If you want to get up and dance for a moment, it's really about honoring this beautiful goddess that you are, really to the fullest. We're in this festival, just pausing and reflecting on your own inner light. This time of year is reflecting the light back to you. So, beloved, I'm going to invite you to get your pen and paper. And I have some questions because we're coming right out of this journey as this sacred space is opened. And it's a powerful time for you to receive your own inner guidance. Okay, so a very important question is, what are you harvesting from the fruits of your labor at this time? So what is it that you've been pouring your love, your time, your energy, your heart and soul, like who or what is that? And so I'd like for you to write about that for a moment. What are you planning to harvest? What would you like to receive? How do you want to feel? And this isn't about overthinking. It's just whatever wants to move through you. Our body really holds consciousness, and not necessarily holds it, but consciousness flows through our body and communicates with us that way. And then when we put pen to paper, it's like we give it a voice. We can hear in other ways, but it's another beautiful way to give voice to our consciousness, for ourselves to be heard, to express. So this is also a beautiful time to pause and to maybe look at what is not thriving or working in your life. And at this very, very young time of the year, is there any way that you're trying to force things to happen that really just are not flowing? Like, I'm a firm believer, just, listening to what, we want, and then putting things out there. And then some things are just magical and synchronistic and just come into full alignment. And then some other areas, it just feels like, I don't know, you're just like, there's glass there and you just start banging on glass and, it's like not flowing. And it's really about being receptive to notice where that, oh my gosh, look at that beautiful flow of energy. Look where that's flowing. And where is that going to lead me? This energy is not flowing over here. And it's just maybe not divine timing right now. Or maybe it's just not meant to be. But really coming from this place of trust. And things will work out if and when they're meant to. They really will. But when we force and we attach, it's like that really prevents. And but we want to harness that divine flow. We want to ride the wave of where things are open and flowing for us. So is there anything that you could release at this time that isn't working? And it doesn't mean you release it forever, but you just give more space to it and trust that maybe it's not the right time. And then a biggie one, especially, for us women, caretakers and mothers. And when I say mothers, I mean mothers in every meaning, like mothering the land, mothering animals, mothering children, we are that expression of that in all areas of our lives. But Tolchu, the archetype, the earth plowing mother goddess, represents like overgiving. And she gave of herself, but to her life. And that is really not necessary, not healthy. So I would ask you, where in your life are you overgiving right now? And what needs to come back into balance? Because, we're always, a part of this human experience is always seeing where we can come back into balance, where have we come out of balance and where have we come back into it, because there's always change. And sometimes things happen and we have to process, we have to bring our energy in another direction. And then sometimes when we do that, it knocks other things out of balance. And it's like, okay, I need to bring it back in. I need to pause. I need to replenish. So where, beloved, in your life right now are you overgiving? And is that really not serving? So I invite you to take note on that. Maybe making a commitment to bring that back into balance. Make that commitment to yourself, to source, to the land, the goddess, to yourself, though, most importantly, beloved. And then, of course, we're coming to this completion of summer. And, some people are like, oh, we don't want to hear this. But, it's like life is cyclical and it will come around again, and to really just embrace the movement and the change and honor, and the more fluid we can be and accept that. So as summer is coming to an end, this time of year also invites us, like, is there projects that you've been working on that you need to bring to completion? And maybe you've been procrastinating, avoiding, or just haven't had time or space, but that are really calling to you to be completed. So I invite you just to write about that now, beloved. What needs more tending to? What needs to be brought to completion? I didn't say perfection, but completion. And so, beloveds, Lughnasadh is really, we're in this time of it, the few days beforehand, the couple of days after, anywhere from this date all the way to like the 3rd of August, we're in this time of Lughnasadh. So a ritual that I would invite you to do is, perhaps you already have an altar created, but you could honor it more in alignment with Lughnasadh. Or perhaps you can create an altar, and it can be indoor or outdoor. And there's no set rules when you create an altar. We really love to invite all the elements of water. So you can gather some rainwater at this time, or you can actually put some water out over these couple of days to kind of be blessed with this energy of Lughnasadh. It can be water that you've gathered from somewhere. It can be water that you've got out the tap and just blessed, put out under the sun. We like to bring in the element of the wood, the flowers, bring in some leaves onto it, bring some fresh flowers. We like to bring the element of metal, so it could be something symbolic, a key. The water could go in a little metal chalice or a bowl. And when we bring in the wood element, the flowers of this time, or even the herbs, the basil, the rosemary, the sage, all of those that are thriving now. We're going to bring in the element of fire, of course, to honor the sun, so the candle. And then air, you could bring in a feather, and a feather that you found, beautiful guidance. And then really Lughnasadh, a lot of the colors are reds, orange, yellows. So you can bring the essence of that color in, maybe with the cloth that you put on the altar. And then the offering on the altar, so corn, anything that's been harvested at this time of year, in this second harvest. Some peas from your garden. Grab some of the herbs, put them on there, put them in water, let them dry on there. And this altar you can sit with now over the next few days and carry on coming back to these questions. Maybe sitting at your altar and coming back to this well that we all sat at together. So I'd love to now, as we always open sacred space at the start of our time together, we're going to close the sacred space. So, beloved, I'm going to invite you to just gently close your eyes. And I'm going to invite you to float your hands up to your heart center. And giving deep thanks and reverence to all of our ancestors, Gurv Mil Amila Mahagas. Gurv Mila Mahagas for the Ishka. More Ranfasa Alamkara. Gurv Mila Mila Mahagas to our ancestors. Gurv Mila Mahagas, their spheroid. Imas, the divine inspiration that was with us. We give deep thanks and reverence to all of our ancestors that have honored this time. We honor you now. Give deep thanks to for our sacred circle and for the healing and the love and this energy of coming together, of honoring. So I invite you to take a deep inhale and exhale, beloved, as we close this sacred space. Thank you, beloveds, for joining me. And I would love to just, if there's any questions that you have, you may feel complete, I would just love to open up. Oh, Jen, thank you for being here, lovey. You feel free to chat, write a question that you might have, or anything that you'd like to share, or an intention that you'd like for me to read out for this special time. Oh, thank you, Sam. Lovely to see you here, love. Oh, Marie, thank you so much. Maria, lovely to have you here. And Arpita, oh, your heart is so full. That was beautiful. And Robin, love. Oh, and Diana, beautiful goddesses. Oh, hi, Karen, love. Thank you for being here. Yvonne, beautiful to have you. And Amy, oh, hi, Neve, love. Oh, thank you, beloveds. So wonderful to be with you all, and just sending Lughnasadh blessings your way. Oh, Erin, so gorgeous to be with you, love. So much love and light to you. And Katrina, oh, so much love to all of you. Beautiful, beautiful priestesses, goddesses that come together to honor these sacred times and then just bring that sacredness forth into your day-to-day life and all that you do and weave it through. Oh, Sandra, love, thank you for being here. Beautiful to connect. Thank you. Anusha, oh, thank you for being here. Beautiful. Much gratitude to you. And Diana, oh, beloved, thank you. And thank you for your beautiful words. Oh, Christina, love, beautiful to have you here, lovey. Sending so much love to you. And, oh, Marion, hi, love. Oh, beautiful to have you here. And Salamana, oh, gorgeous. And Robin has a question. When we make an altar, what do we do with all the things on the altar when we're done with it? Oh, beautiful. Yes. Well, I think that most of the stuff, like from candles, the water, there's no need to remove that off. And I would, even if you decide to put corn or any of the harvest offerings onto the altar, you could let them dry out there and then give them to the earth to be composted and give them back to the earth and to honor them in that way. Or if you leave the corn on your altar for a couple of days, you can cook it and have a meal with it, So I think everything on the altar that you put on there and the leaves can go back out when they're ready to be compost, but just enjoy it and be with it. And the altar is just such a beautiful way to keep the sacred energy flowing, to go to for guidance, to go to for gratitude. There's so many reasons why, just to connect with that energy. Oh, yep. You know already. You will have this infinite wisdom within you. That's the thing. And then we just come together to honor and celebrate that. So thank you, beloveds. It was just my absolute joy to be with you all. And definitely, I'd love for us all to come back together again on the autumn equinox. And also, I'm really, really excited. And some of you beloveds that are here today are going to be part of the Priestess Awakening year-long on the Celtic Wheel, like really diving deeply into this ancient wisdom and these ancient ceremonies and rituals and ways of being to, really step into that that priestess that you are, that you already are, but to awaken her to the next level. So sending so much love to you all. Lughnasadh blessings, slán ladgur mila mila mathagas. This is a little bit of a Gaelic for you beloveds. Sending so much love. Thank you so much for being here. And oh, Shelley, lovely to, thank you. Beautiful to have you here. Oh, thank you, beautiful slán lat. And the recording will be sent out. If you want to go through the meditation again, you'll have that. So thank you, lovies. Oh, Marie, you're there, Marie Christine. Thank you. All right, lovies, take care. Lots of love. Bye.